So on Saturday in Mongkok, police used pepper spray against to push back journalists with no protesters directly facing them without warning or provocation. Looking at how many reporters are currently in the room, can you really say that police can't distinguish between those wearing high visibility vests and those who aren't? And my second question is, police representatives have repeatedly defended these actions by saying that officers are under pressure. If that's the case, how can the public expect to trust officers to be professional and disciplined when armed with harmful chemicals like pepper spray? And my third question is, do you agree that the force's inability to admit any wrongdoing throughout the summer has led to this collapse in public trust?
First, answer the first question. I think at around 10 p.m. on that night, as our officers were advancing through the Nathan Road, basically we made arrest of 3 people, 2 males and 1 female for unlawful assembly. And there were many protesters, reporters in yellow reflective vest, some people in yellow reflective vest, but we did not know whether they are reporters or not, and other people who claim to be observer and varying some other vest on that night. And I can say that from the videos online as well as from the reports made by our officers as seen. Certain reporters definitely are closely to the point where our officers and they were rubbing shoulders to each other. And our officers indeed, from the video I can see, they did ask politely the reporters to not to stay close to them and remind them to move away with a certain distance. And as our officers had to disperse the protester behind the reporters, they had to use appropriate force, such as pepper spray. At that moment, we consider it is appropriate. Using pepper spray, in fact, is to establish a safe distance between the police officers and other people at the scene. And
looking at the distance between the reporter and the police officer, would you say that the reporter is at a safe distance from the officer?
I would say that for these particular photos, it's already in a safe distance. But at some other moments, the reporters are really close to our officers. And I would like to reiterate that during the violent incidents happened recently, definitely we can see that radical protesters attack our police officers with dangerous and sometimes very deadly weapons. And we must first ensure the safety of our officers by maintaining a safe distance with all people, including reporters. And we had no bad intent to use pepper spray, because at that time I'm sure that our officers are using that to keep a distance not only with the reporters but other people as seen. And that's why I always make an appeal to all the people, including reporters, don't come into direct contact with our officers, and make sure that they keep a very safe distance to ensure that they are safe in that chaotic situation.
Okay. For the second question, I believe that we police are not the only one who is under great pressure. Actually, for a violent incident that lasting for so long, the whole society is under great pressure. And but please be rest assured that every one of our police force who is deployed on ground had received professional training concerning their deployment and duties, and our supervisory officer and management will conduct constant briefing to our officer, which relates to the job and what kind of areas to be pay attention during every shift of duty. And we, the management, have daily communication with our troops too. In addition, our police clinical psychologists pay regular visit to our officer to ensure their psychological well-being. And so we are confident that our officer could remain professional and disciplined during every and single operation. Third question,
Third question. about trust. You mentioned about police trust.
Do you agree that the force's inability to admit any wrongdoing throughout the summer has led to the collapse in public trust?
I think I must emphasize that Hong Kong Police Force in the last 3 months has been performing their very best in keeping Hong Kong safe and maintaining the law and order, especially at the time when we are facing very difficult time. Our officers are being attacked by violent protester, and again, if you look at the bigger picture, not only at the scene of the protest, as well as the work we done to maintain or to arrest the protester, Hong Kong's overall crime rate dropped to its lowest 45 years last year, since 1974, and basically was ranked among the top 5 globally in terms of the safety and security. And in fact, we always appeal to the members that instead of the efforts paid by the police, every member of the public has to respect the rule of law and adopt a peaceful and rational means of expression when they are expressing their views. But definitely we can see that they hijacked the peaceful protests in the last few months and did a lot of violent acts in the society.